Before we get started, I have a quick favor to ask. I know we're just getting started here and our community is still small, but I've set a goal for us to reach 500 subscribers. I have high ambitions for the depth of the conversations I want to have with you all, and reaching that milestone is a big part of how we build that foundation. If these stories and reflections bring value to your life, it would mean a lot if you would hit that subscribe button. And if you know someone else who is walking this path, someone who might need to hear these words today, please share this with them as well. Growing this tree is something we do together, and your support in sharing this message helps it reach the people who need it most. There's a certain kind of stillness that comes when you finally stop fighting yourself. And I've been sitting with a specific realization for quite a long time now. The idea that parts of us we call the ego aren't actually there to hurt us. But this morning, that theory got really nailed down. I had a conversation with two specific protectors who have been with me since I was a very young boy. And for years, I bought into the idea that I had to destroy those parts of me to grow. I thought I had to win a war against myself. But today, I just listened to them. And I acknowledged how long they've been carrying the weight. I realized they aren't the enemy. They're just doing the job, the only job they know how to do. The realization has shifted the focus for this specific episode. And in this season, we've talked a lot about the industrial arc and what it means to lead with humanity in a world full of AI and noise. But it became very clear to me this morning that if I'm going to lead with humanity, I have to start with my own. The message coming out of this podcast still has to be about growth and healing, but it has to stay true to me, and it has to stay authentic to who I am. So, I'm done trying to make this perfect. I'm done trying to sound like a host or sound like a writer. I'm just going to be purely, authentically me. Because if I can't be honest with the parts of myself that were built to keep me safe, how can I be honest with you? We all have these parts. We all have these internal defenders that think they have to keep us in a certain posture. But when we stop that war, we can finally move forward as one. Let's talk about how we find that unity. So, I've been doing this for a little over a year now. Not in a podcast, but the spiritual journey that I've been on and the deep work of it, where I really committed to meditation, writing, things like that, the journaling, right? And just seeking more inside. More, who am I? And at the beginning, I really thought, I bought into the kill the ego, destroy the ego, death to the ego. And over time, it just, okay, how is this possible? I tried so many different things. And none of them, I mean, they helped. Absolutely. To this day, they all still help. I don't do all of them anymore, but I took some pretty drastic measures. I tried a lot of different things. I tried some plant medicine of different kinds. I went on a lot of different spiritual journeys, and they helped. And they brought questions. And what I've learned over the time is the ego and the parts inside of you that you've built, they're not going away. They're there forever. And that, like, hurt. It was almost deflating to the aspect of, well, crap. Then what's all this stuff about killing the ego? Can I not do this? Is something wrong with me? Right? And it just came to me that, okay, they're a part of you. You created them. They're doing the job that you created them to do. So if you created them and you developed them to protect and help you survive, can't you redefine that? Aren't you capable of changing the story within? The story and the narrative that you speak to yourself on an everyday basis? Because that's another part of meditation and prayer and all that stuff, is just tell yourself a different story. You can rewire your mind, if you will. Well, if you can rewire that, then you can rewire the ego, because it's a part of you. That's another part that I had to get comfortable with, that it is a part of your infrastructure. And it is not going anywhere. It was built by me to save me. So, all right. We know it's there and we know it's not going anywhere. So what the hell do we do with that? How about we just talk to him and listen? Right? And early on, I was trying to do that and I was working with him, and where I was at the time was, okay, I recognize that little Cory lives in my belly. The little kid who was destroyed, who was hurt, who had just things that in his life that he didn't need to go through. And I realized that by the weight journey was one of the biggest ones, because when he gets triggered, when I feel anxious, when I feel depressed, when I feel like I'm getting attacked, whatever it is, I'd always turn to food to fill that hole in my belly. And so I was like, okay, so the ego for me and the protector for me was protecting little Cory. That's where I kind of stopped. That was the face value of it. And then I kept going into some deeper research, and what I found was there's this therapy called IFS therapy, internal family systems. And I am not a therapist. I did not go through this therapy officially. I just started studying it and reading about it because it resonated with me, to the fact that it's about naming your parts. It's about talking to your parts, listening to them. But it really started helping me define, hone in a little bit more, and have techniques to really dive deep into them. And I keep saying them because there's more than one. And I started recognizing, okay, when I'm at work, I definitely have different things that get me going. I have different protection mechanisms when I'm with friends, or if I'm in a relationship, or if I'm trying to date, or, if I'm hanging with the boys, whatever it is, there are different protecting mechanisms that, one, get triggered by different things and then show up in different fashions. All right. So I started listening to that, and I started really studying it, and I was creeping along. I was like, okay, so now I feel better that a little bit of the theory and the idea that I was coming up with was already out there a little bit. But the other part of it was, okay, so, and you don't have to, but name them. Like, find out if they have a name, or you can name them yourself. But you start having conversations with them. And I've been working on this for a while now, for several months. And it's been difficult as far as really connecting heavily with them. I connected with little Cory, but not his protector. I didn't know who the protector was. Heart pain, things like that. Who and what's going on in there. So if you listen to the last podcast about slowing down, it's been hitting me, and it's not front of mind. It's subconsciously because it's in me, because I've been studying it, writing about it, things like that. So this morning, during my normal morning ritual stuff that I do, I wake up, I do my meditation that I do, and then I go make my coffee and my cacao, and I go through a meditation with that, and then I journal. And like I've been saying in a lot of my last podcasts and my posts, that I've been having some rough mornings. Like, it's just been heavy, and I can't sit in stillness, and I can't focus very well, right? So I worked on a breathing technique when I get anxious, and when I was, trying to sit through that and just listen and follow my heart. And I do that to try to breathe the thoughts out and try to get that out. And it was working. It does a good job for me. But it would come right back, and it would just keep going, and I could not find the stillness within. And yesterday I visited with my sister. I went and saw her, and I turned her on to a podcast and a book that I've been listening to and reading, and I finished it yesterday as well. I listened to it on audio while I was driving to her, and she was in it. She was ordering the book. She loved it. She started asking a lot of questions like, well, how do you know what these parts are? How do you know what the protectors are? All the questions regarding this. And sure as crap, I wake up this morning, I'm going through my normal stuff, and there comes the gut stuff. There comes the brain stuff. It won't let me sit in quiet. It won't let me sit in peace. So I started blowing and get it out, get it out. And then all of a sudden I just stopped. I said, all right, who are you? And all of a sudden I hear Steve. And it's not really like I'm saying it. It's a feeling, but you hear it. Funny thing about that is, for years when I'm coaching soccer and my girls teams, they would always giggle and laugh, because as I'd be getting frustrated and trying to get onto them, and I'd be trying to yell their name and I'd forget their name. So I'd just call them all Steve. Well, here we are. And I was like, okay, so who are you trying to protect? Little Cory. Okay. And then we just started having a conversation, a full on conversation. I could picture him. I just seen he's 10, 11-ish, same age as Cory when all this stuff kind of started. And just a scrubby little dirty neighborhood kid that, had a rough life, but was tough and could face it and could stand up in front of it. And you're not going to push him around and bully him. And so I was like, okay, do you like this? Do you like doing what you do? And he's like, not really, but if I don't, who's going to? What would you be doing if you didn't have to protect little Cory? I'd play with him. We'd run, we'd ride bikes, and we'd go exploring. Wow. I mean, wow. So I sat with that for a while. And then another shift starts coming up. All right. And I was trying to connect with it, and I was getting nowhere. And, okay, who are you? And I've talked about this one before, because this was the very first one that I named a while back. He's like, I'm the mullet, man. So the mullet, Gen Xer, 80s, mullet haircut. Okay. I already kind of knew who he was protecting, but who are you protecting? Rigo. All right. What from and why? How old are you? Why were you summoned to protect Cory or Rigo? Same questions. Do you like it? What would you be doing if you didn't? And he's the one, because remember, if you have listened before, and if you haven't, that's fine. They're still there. They're not going anywhere. I would sing, I would dance, I would write. He's the artist. but he's troubled and he's had a hard life, but he can stand up to it. So he was the guy who stands in front of Rigo, and, I was asking, he's like, man, I'm there to make sure everyone knows that Rigo is cool. Rigo could hang with anybody. Rigo's this, Rigo, he was like, and he's the one that when I feel like my character's getting attacked, or I think someone's trying to make me feel less than, that's when the mullet kicks in. Like, man, look at you. I'm better than you. I can do that better than you. I can coach better than you. I can do this better than you. Whatever it is. So I'm just sitting there having conversations. And when I got done, I just sat there and I had the most peaceful, calm feeling that I've had in a very long time. And now I have a name. And now I have an image of what they look like. And now I understand a little bit of their backstory. And now I understand that the only reason they do this is because that's the only job that they've been told they can do. And they didn't know that they had the option. They've never been asked, hey, what do you want to do? That sinks even more into the knowing that if I can change my story, I can change that story. And I can change my protectors into partners, into part of myself. I can introduce them to myself. I can still have them do their job. I can still have them absolutely help me. But now it's more of a combined, we're doing this together. You're not my enemy. I'm not yours. You don't have to do this anymore because I'm becoming strong enough to do it for myself. So what do you want to do? How can I better utilize the parts of my ego that are protecting me, that are stronger than me in that aspect, that have been standing up in front of me for a long time? And how can I use their skills better? And that was the overall understanding and beauty of this morning. It was just absolutely incredible. And it all started a while back when I was watching a podcast and I got turned on to this book, and the person who kind of started this whole, excuse me, IFS therapy, and really just listened to it, and like, it hit me. I understood it. And I pivoted hard into it. And I'm on my journey. I'm doing a lot of work, and I have my mentors, and I have my people that I look to for guidance and things like that. None of them are therapists. And that's fine. So I needed to find a way that, one, I've already done it with my meditation. What meditations work for me? How do I meditate so it best benefits me and what I want to do? How do I eat? When do I eat? All this stuff. So I had to find a system around this. And it's just crazy how the world works. And for whatever reason, a couple days ago, when I knew I was going up to see my sister, I sent her that podcast. I said, hey, watch this. I think you might enjoy this, because we've worked on some other things, her and I. And I was watch this, and I want to talk to you about it when I get there. And she, the same, she felt a connection to it. So she's getting the book, and she's going to go on her journey with it. But it's crazy how I've been doing this for several months now, trying to work with my ego, accept that it's a part of me forever, trying to make friends with it, if you will. and how it if you just keep at it and keep at it, you'll have a breakthrough moment. And that breakthrough moment for me happened this morning. Now, I know they're not alone. I know that Steve and the Mullet are not alone, that there are others in there, because we haven't even reached adulthood for the most part, right? We're just into all the teenage years and early adulthood when I move out of the house and go away. But then I get married and I have children. I coach. There's still little parts of all those that show up, but I know there's other parts that were developed in my adult years to take the place of things that maybe they couldn't handle because they were just children. So I'm going to just keep going with this, obviously, but now it's a curiosity. Now it's who is in there? Who is next? What else am I going to learn? And just listening and being honest and having that conversation. And I know the room's not empty. I know we're just at the beginning of the next breakthrough, the next negotiations with whatever other parts of my ego is sitting in there waiting to be heard. But I need to sit with these two. I need to start from the beginning, just like I have in this journey. I need to start in the beginning and work my way to now. You can do it however you want. You find your way. That's what's working really well for me now. In my therapeutic side and my spiritual side, right? I can start a little bit now on my spiritual side, but in my therapeutic side, in my emotional side, in my healing side, I really needed to start young and help heal those guys. And there's a little balance of now and then and now and then. But connecting the external world with the internal world it was just phenomenal. I can't say enough about it. And the ego is not your enemy. It's not a monster. It's not there to fight against you. It's not there to tell you that you can't do anything, you're worthless and all that kind of nonsense. It's simply protecting you, and it's doing its job. And there's heavy parts of that, right? There's the addictive parts, the real nasty parts of your ego that I promise you that when I was going through, when I was younger and I was going through my drug addiction and things like that, I was not a good dude. I made some very bad decisions, did some very bad things. So I hurt people. But I was surviving. And I can't blame that part of myself. I can't blame that ego for that. That was the only way I could get through that part of life. I may not be here if it wasn't for these parts. You may not be where you're at right now because of the parts that helped you get through whatever times you needed to get through. And while I was working on it this morning, it was just extremely vulnerable for me to say, all right, it's time to drop the being perfect. It's trying to make a perfect podcast, trying to be the host of this, trying to be the writer of this. Those were just masks of the adult that was, okay, hey, I want them to see me as, man, look at he's got this stuff down. No, I don't. But I know how to be me. I know how to speak as me. I know how to have a conversation with people. So I just got to keep it at that. It doesn't mean my thought processes of the industrial arc and things like that are going away. I still think that's a very, very important topic that we're going to cover throughout the year. But it's extremely important that we listen to our ego and we listen to the parts of us that get scared. And before the morning was ended, I was getting really nervous for whatever reason when I was walking Kirby and out on our morning walk. And honestly, it started before that because I usually watch my CBS Sunday Morning that we talk about, and the sun was shining, the sunrise was coming up, and I was sitting there fighting myself. Man, forget this. You can watch this anytime. Nope, sit down and watch it. You love it. No, go outside and do this. Finally, I just got up, went outside, and it was just more protection mechanisms of the adult. And I was feeling it in my gut. And because I was nervous about this, about telling the story and people judging it. You know, it's, as we call it back home, the hippity dippity. And it's all this crazy talk. You're talking to your ego, and yep, I am. And it makes me feel good. And it helps me learn and grow. It helps me heal. So that's who I am. That's who I authentically am. And I'm going to share it. And I want to help people. And I can only help people if I'm authentic and I'm true to myself. It's the only way. It starts with being that way to yourself. So I'm going to challenge you to ask yourself a few questions. And try to find the time when your mind rises in my belly a lot, right? It might come in your head. You might get heart pain, whatever it is. When your ego starts going and your mind starts racing and all those voices start going, stop, take a breath. Where is it in my body? Okay. I'll just go heart right now so you can see it. All right. Who are you protecting? Who is this? Start asking those questions. Right in the moment if you can. I understand sometimes you can't do that. You can catch up with it later. You can try to do it when that's not really happening. But ask the question. Start having a conversation with it. Because right now, what do you try to do when things start flaring up? Do you try to do what I did, blow it out, or let it act like clouds are flying? Or do you stop and ask it a question? Think about the parts that have been carrying this load for years. What would they do if they were finally allowed to stop protecting you? How could they help you become your best self? But find where that feeling is. Sit with it. And just have a quiet conversation. It helped me. And it's a beautiful thing when you can stop having a war with yourself and you can start listening to yourself and finding a partnership between all the parts of you that you may not like, that you've been trying to hide, that have been helping you. And now possibly they can help you in a different way. So I would love to hear your results on this. If you check out the YouTube channel, I've got a poll out there right now that you guys can go check out based on this. And we're going to continue having these conversations. I believe strongly that if we can quiet the mind and if we can quiet these parts of us and just sit with the pain a little bit and feel it and then just have an open conversation and realize it's a part of you. It's literally a part of you and it's not going anywhere. You can't kill it. You can't destroy it. You can't smoke it to death. You can't drink it to death. You can't go do ayahuasca to death. You can't do any of those things. It's not going to die. Just not. Maybe it can become your friend. Maybe you can make it an ally and a support system and use it when needed. There's going to be times that I need the mullet because I feel like someone's looking down on me in this and I need to be able to stand up and say, all right, hey man, no. I'm good at this. I can do this. right? That, like part of this, I know I'm going to find my voice as a podcaster. I know I'm going to find my voice as a writer because I love it. And I enjoy the hell out of it. But I had to redefine why I'm doing it. And I had to redefine what it meant to me. And continue the work and just keep pushing forward. But listen to your ego. Listen to the parts inside of you that are telling you things are scary and find out why. What's going on? What do you need? That's the other question I probably forgot to mention. What do you need right now? Maybe they say a hug. Maybe they say, can I go play? Maybe they say, I need, some more water. I don't know what it is, but ask them, what do you need right now? What can I do for you right now? How can I help you? That's how you show people you care. That's how you show people that you're invested in them and you want them to be the best that they can be. And you're doing this for yourself. When you're talking to those parts and you're helping those parts of yourself, you're literally loving, raising, and helping yourself. You are showing yourself love, grace, and compassion. And isn't that what we all need to have more of? From ourselves? And that's where it starts. Listen to yourself. Allow yourself. And then follow it. It'll take you where you want to go. And I wish I could express how I felt after this morning. I wish I had the words for it. It's just been, it's a beautiful awakening. When you get that message and you get that understanding of something that you've been seeking, when you finally get it, now what do I do with it? That's another question. And I'll find that answer. But I'm never going to stop asking the questions. I'm just not. And I hope you don't either. I believe you can't. So the final thoughts, and this is why I'm so focused on reaching those 500 subscribers and growing this tree. It's not about the numbers. It's about finding more people who care and who are ready to stop the war within themselves. We move forward together. Me, my parts, and all of you. The work we do here, it only grows as deep as the truth we're willing to tell in here. Thank you for spending this time with me today. I know your time is valuable, and it means a lot that you are willing to walk this path of conscious wisdom with me. It isn't always easy to be this open. It isn't always easy to pull back the curtain on the parts of ourselves that we've spent a lifetime trying to hide and run from. But I'm learning that the more I stop the war inside, the more I can actually show up for you and everyone out there. The conversations I had with Steve and the Mullet today reminded me that my only real job is to purely be authentically me. So before I go, I want to ask you for your help. I know we're still in the early stages of this channel, but I have very high ambitions for what we can build here. And if this episode gave you something to think about, please hit that subscribe button. It helps us reach our goals and ensures that the stories that they just keep finding their way to the people that need them. And if you know someone who is struggling with their own internal noise, please share this with them. That's how we grow this together. I don't have all the answers yet. I'm just a man who decided to stop fighting himself and to start listening instead. I hope you'll all do the same. I am Cory J. Riggs. This is This Tree in Me. I love you all. Be blessed.